Hey folks, it's Dave here. What's this? I'm on camera. Yes, so this is going to be a state of the channel address. I decided that maybe I'd appear on camera just because it has to do with the future of my channel and where it might be going and where it has been. I started this channel, well, I started it many years prior, but I uploaded my first impressions video almost 2 years ago. I think it's November 12th. I probably should have researched this before starting this. I have made notes. They're over here. Um, Man, I don't like how this is cutting my arms off in frame, but what can you do? If I moved back, you couldn't see me as well, and that's the point, isn't it? Anyway, it's been 2 years of this channel. I've been uploading on a fairly consistent basis, and sadly, there has been no real growth. Um, I still love doing it. I wouldn't keep uploading videos if I didn't love what I'm doing, but I got to the point where, as disheartening as it has been, I would love to focus on growing the channel into something big, popular, maybe even something that can support me. That would be the dream. Uh, what this really is a questionnaire for you loyal fans who have been with me the longest or have stuck around. I've lost a few subscribers recently, but my subscriber count, although not large, has really kept steady. So those of you that are here, you must love what I do, and I would love to hear from you about what I'm doing. I like to go through my shows one by one, just talk a little about them, and then we'll end this. Hopefully, I will not keep rambling on and on and on and on and on. Longtime fans will remember my first State of the Channel address and my first episode of Dave's Favorite Games, where I did not use a script. And the big problem with that is that I do tend to ramble. My brain kind of sometimes takes a long time to think about what I want to say next, and then suddenly I'll latch on to something and I'll just keep going and going and going and going, and it kind of ebbs and flows that way, which can make conversation difficult. And it's one of the reasons I script most of what I write, and also why I don't appear on camera. Well, the main reason I don't appear on camera is because I'm using my webcam and my microphone, which is okay, but it could be better. And as you can see, the lighting's okay, but it's not great. I will have to say that we're heading into summer now in Australia, so it's getting hotter and hotter every day. And one good thing about that is that the day I decided to do this, it's about 12:45 in the afternoon, so the sun is at its peak, and it is lighting the room rather well. So that's good. So let's get started. I'll just start with the blanket question. What do you like that I do, and what would you like to see more of? My critiques now, I feel personally, they are the strongest videos I make. They are the ones I most enjoy after they're done. They are also the longest to put together, often because the most time-consuming part for me is usually playing the game itself. I have concentration issues. I've mentioned this in videos before, and if I can play a game for over an hour a day, it's that's a long session. So at the moment I'm playing through Pillars of Eternity for my next critique because you voted for that game, which I appreciate. I really love the voting, and I'm going to do that more, regardless of what happens, because the critiques will be here to stay. I feel they're my flagship show. They're the most important thing I do. And I would definitely love to do more of them. I'd love to be able to get them out on a more consistent basis, but it does rely on the game. So I just finished Act 1 of Pillars of Eternity yesterday, and who knows how many acts are left and how long that's going to take. and how much side content I'm going to do. Now, the good thing about this game, at least, I think that when I'm done and I go to do my research about what everyone's written about the game, I don't think I'm going to find much, because I don't recall a lot of people discussing Pillars of Eternity outside of reviews, and I don't really ever read or watch reviews anymore. So it might be primarily my thoughts on the game, which I always feel a little out to sea on that. Like when I did my critique on the Silver Case, there was nothing written on that game. Felt kind of I had nothing to grab onto, or I had no idea what other people were talking about, so I didn't know where I could, squeeze my ideas in. And that video is a little all over the place. Not one of my favorites out of my critiques, but it can be interesting because, you kind of are able to plant your flag going, well, no one's written about this. Here we go. Okay, so let's move on. I don't think I'm too rambly. Now, the big question actually is my impressions videos. I'm starting to wonder if they are needed or what purpose they serve. They're very useful for me because I am very finicky with what games I play or want to continue with. And part of the reason I like to at least do one impressions video a week is so I'm playing a new game every week. So I can, I have this desire to consume as much media as I can, not only in games, but movies, books, TV shows, music. I like to get as much as I can. Of course, there's only so many hours in a day, and I am not the most dedicated person when it comes to even my free time. So, yeah, that can cause problems. But the impressions have been great. I mean, one of the original joys of this channel for me was taking my hobby, which was very undisciplined, and actually adding some discipline to it. Now, of course, the problem with that, and I think maybe the main problem with the impressions videos themselves, is that they're really more for me than they are for other people. I mean, the idea is that by playing that 10% of a game and talking about it, giving my impressions, someone should be able to watch that video and go, I can maybe see whether or not I'd like this game based on what they've said. But I do understand that it is really more for me, whether I want to continue a game, what games I want to critique, what I thought of the game. And yeah, perhaps the time has come to stop doing them, to still play the games for 10%, but then do it in secret, add them to the critique pile. Of course, the detriment to that will be that there won't be as much content coming out on this channel, although I will offer a alternative perhaps. But yes, this is the main question I want to ask you about. Do you enjoy my impressions videos? Do you think they serve a purpose? If not, if you like them but you think they could change, how would you like to see them change? Maybe I should write them in a more review-esque structure. Maybe break it into, story, gameplay, technology, aesthetics, that kind of thing. Maybe I should do an overall. I don't feel comfortable about scoring them. I don't like scores to begin with. I think all they do is invite people to be mean to each other. But I especially don't feel like offering a score for something I've only played 10% of. I mean, that seems to me to be absolutely ludicrous. I don't know if you agree or not. But perhaps you have an idea of how they could change, if they should change, or if I should just get rid of them altogether, maybe even delete them from my channel. I also have this fear that when people first come to my channel and they look at my video list, they see the over 200 videos, most of them impressions, they go, where do I start? And then just click off, and I never get a new viewer or subscriber, even though they might have really enjoyed my critique videos or my favorite games videos. That kind of thought weighs on me sometimes. Okay, so the third show I do is, of course, the favorite games videos. I actually really love making these. The one I just made for Half-Life 2, I think it's one of my best videos. I really appreciated that. And of course, because I thought it was one of my best, the fact that almost nobody has watched it or commented on it has been, again, quite disheartening. But I feel like it's a nice middle ground almost. It's like I've played these games a million times. I don't feel like I can critique them because everything I have to say is usually positive. Even though it's funny in some of these games, I've replayed them and a lot of their negatives have kind of shown themselves to me. Maybe it's because I really am focusing on everything more with a critical eye these days. So even the stuff I love, what it doesn't do perfectly kind of shows itself more to me now. But I really like how positive I try and make these videos. I think the Half-Life 2 one is overwhelmingly positive. And I really appreciate that. I think, we need more positivity when talking about video games. And even when I'm doing an impressions video or a critique and what I'm playing is not working for me, or I think it's doing something that I don't like, I try and be even-handed. I don't want to be mean. I don't want to be angry. I think there's too much of that out there. Hopefully you agree. I don't think that will ever change. But perhaps I need to shift the way I talk about certain things. I don't know. Again, if you have thoughts on this, please, in the comments. So finally, if I do get rid of impressions, or maybe this is just something you'd like to see more of, this appearing on camera is a new thing. I decided to do this instead of just the voiceover that I did for my last few State of the Channel addresses, mainly because I think also, pardon me, my voice is parched, so I'm going to have some coffee. Damn good coffee. Oh boy. I'm very scratchy now, so I gotta have some water. Okay, where were we? Yes. So maybe in place of an impression video every week, I used to do a column for my the old gaming website I was a part of, Gaming Momentum, called Dave's Game Corner, which is what I now call my newsletter. And you should subscribe to that. There's a link below. There's always a link below. And what I used to do is just talk about either something in games that interested me, or something that was happening within the game space. Like if I was doing that over the last month, I probably would have written a column on the whole loot box thing. Or maybe how crazy the releases of October are. I mean, just this last week we had Assassin's Creed Origins, Mario Odyssey, and Wolfenstein 2 release on the same day. That's ludicrous. I mean, it's okay because those games probably don't have too much crossover, but for people who just want to play some very solid AAA games, yeah, that's everyone's just got so much money and so much time. I mean, that's kind of the prevailing problem with the whole games industry, isn't it? Now that everything's creeped over into the first months of the new year instead of just that 3 months at the end of the year. So yeah, this kind of thing where I'm just talking about games in general. Maybe you'd like to see me appear on camera once a week and do something like this. Maybe even have a little, there we go. So the camera shows, it's mirroring me, so I don't know which way I'm pointing. But maybe in the corner I'd have a little video to, what's the word? To accompany what I'm talking about. And I don't know, maybe this is how people want to see me do impressions videos, where I just ramble, but I have the footage up here. And maybe when I have a point to make, because what I really love doing, I've done it a little more in the last month or two, is I make a point about sound or music that I really like, and then I actually just showcase a clip of the game without the other background music playing I usually put in. And I've really enjoyed how that works. Maybe I could do more of that, where it would be up here and then go boop, and then fill screen and then go boop, back to the corner, and I'd continue talking. Maybe that's something you'd like to see. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this up. I've probably gone on far too long. Oh yeah, it's 16 minutes. Jeez. So please, yes, let me know your suggestions. Hi, Dave. Talk good. Um, I really would love to make this into something worthwhile. I not that it isn't, but maybe you know what I mean. I'm having trouble expressing myself. I'd like to grow the channel consistently. I'd like to make what I'm doing here more than what it is now. And I think because you guys have stuck around, and you obviously like what I'm doing, I'd really love to hear your feedback on this. So thank you. And as I say now in my new sign off, I hope you're all having a wonderful day.